All right, so I'm going to start, we're going to need to create a list that's going to store our numbers. And we start by asking quantity of numbers that we want. So it's going to be an integer input because the input is by default string. So I'm going to say, how many numbers would you like to place in your list? All right, now that I have that quantity, so now I need to loop through the number that I want to put in the list. So I'm going to say for I in range from 1 to the quantity that they want to put in the list plus 1. And I'm going to grab the number. It's going to be, I assume they're integers, but maybe I'll just take, yeah. We'll assume that they're integer input. I can't do that. Input will only allow one input statement. So I want to be able to say what is number 1. I'm going to have to build that as a string first. So my question will be equal to what is number plus the string value of my quantity I, so what is number 1, plus question mark with a space. So as an example, if I print my question, let's see if that does the, so I want to do 3, what is number 1, what is number 2, what is number 3. So that's kind of doing it right, but what I want to do instead is I'm going to grab this as an input. So my number will be integer input the question. It's going to ask that information, store it in num, and then I can append that to my numbers list. So numbers.append the number that they've added. So as a quick test, let's see if it's doing what I think it should do. I'm going to print out my list. I'll add 3, 2, 5, 10. Good. So these numbers look great. To recap, here they all are, 2, 5, and 10. Hi, Noah. How are you? Great. So in order to do that, I'm going to now say print these numbers look great. To recap, here they all are. And then I'm going to add end is nothing, because I want to be able to print out the 2, 5, and 10 at the end of that line. So now I have to loop through for I in range 0 to the length of my list. Print the number is in the list, so I got to grab numbers, and I'm going to grab the 0th position. I is 0, right? So I starts at 0, so I'll grab the 0th position, then the 1st position, then the 2nd position. And then I need to add a comma after that, and a space. And then I have to add end equal to nothing, so that when it loops back to the next number, it'll stay on the same line. When it loops back to the next number, it'll stay on the same line. Then after that value 10, I have to add a print statement so that I come down to the next line. And then I could say print I've created 2 void functions. Let's see if it's doing what I think it should be doing. Let's see if we get that output. So I'm going to put 3 in the list, 2, 5, and 10. These numbers look great. To recap, here they all are, 2, 5, and 10. Looks like I don't want to have a space. Okay, I want the comma right after the 2, so I'm going to actually add that because the comma is adding a space, and I'm gonna, if I want to add a number to a string, I've got to convert my number to a string. I'll run this now. 3 in the list, 2, 5, and 10, and now I've got the output looking like it's supposed to. So now I need to create a menu, and I'm going to keep looping back through this menu. So I'm going to need a while true statement. I've created 2 void functions that has to be part of that while true statement, so I'm going to add a while true, because I don't know how often this is going to be repeated. And then I'm going to say print and then I might as well take my input. So their choice is going to be input type 1, 2, or 3 with a space. And let's just see if that is running. 3 numbers, 2, 5, 10. These numbers look correct. We might want to add a space. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to add a space here. Probably should. I won't bother at the moment. I've created 2 void functions. Add all your numbers in the list. Multiply all your numbers in the list. Do nothing. Just end the program. Type 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so that's kind of working. So what I need to do now is I need to check what their answers are. So if choice is equal to, and I didn't choose integer values, and that way if I type in ONE, program won't crash. If choice is equal to 3, and that's an easy one, I'm just going to break. Program will end. And as it says, yeah, so that program will end. But I'm also going to create add all your numbers and multiply the numbers. So I'm going to create 2 functions. Define multiply. I'll pass that. And then define add. And I'll say print, just so I know that this is working. Adding rather than passing. I'll print multiplying. So this is a quick test. So if choice is equal to 1, add your numbers in list. I'm going to call add. And these are probably going to be elifs. Elif choice is equal to 2. I'm going to multiply. Now let's see if this is working. It's kind of pausing. I'm going to copy that in case it stops working. Refresh this. Don't know what's going on. Let's try running it. 3, 2, 4, 6. Numbers look great. Okay, I'm going to try adding. So it's supposed to be adding. I'm going to try multiplying. Multiplying. 3, program will end. But I also realized invalid input, so I also need, if it's not one of all 1, 2, or 3, I'm going to say just else print sorry invalid input. Okay, so now if I do an invalid input, invalid input 4, invalid input. Okay, so that's working. So I want to add all my numbers in the list. So my adding all the numbers, what I need to do is I need to loop through for I in range I gotta go from 0 to the length of my list, and I'm going to say, oh, I need to create a sum value, set that equal to 0 at the beginning, and I'm going to simply add sum is equal to sum plus the value in my list. So my list is called numbers, and I'm going to grab the ith item from that. So the 0th item, the first item, the second number. So from 0 up to the length of the numbers. It's going to add all those numbers up together. Once it's looped through, I'm going to now print out the sum of the numbers in your list is, and I'm going to just print out the sum. Let's test that, see if that works. So I'm going to put in 3 numbers, 2, 5, and 10, and then I'm going to choose, hang on a second, Silas. I'm going to choose add your numbers. Adding the sum of the numbers in the list is 17, which is correct. And then I'm going to do that same concept for multiplying, exact same thing, but instead of multiplying, I'm going to take my sum starting at 1, because if I multiply everything by 0, that's just going to give me a 0, and I take it and I'm going to be multiplying those values. And so now if I run this program, do I have an output? When I multiply, the product should be 100, so let's just try running that. My 3 numbers are 2, 5, and 10, and I'll multiply. The sum is 100. Okay, there you go.